Hello, everyone. I'm Meredith with the Brahma Kumari's Facebook site, and we're on Conversations with Friends. And I'm very excited tonight to introduce you to somebody who is an extremely talented artist, but she takes our art to another level. And I don't want to say it's better because all art is great as far as I'm concerned, but to a different level. She uses her art, she uses her talent, she uses her education, her experiences to help heal others and to help others heal themselves. So I'm not going to say anything more, but you're going to learn, and I'm here to learn. I'm always learning from this program. I'm just delighted to introduce you to Leah Guzman. So welcome, Leah. And
Thank you. Thank you,
yeah,
Meredith, for having me here.
I get very excited when I come across people that I just feel it's almost like we're all on similar paths,
Mhm.
helping, believing that change can come and that we can all get better and, do better in terms of spiritually, emotionally, and especially at this time when the way I see it is everybody needs some kind of healing, right? But you were really doing this many years ago before things were almost like, in emergency mode, the need for healing, weren't you?
Yeah, most definitely. You want me to tell you a little bit about my
Yeah,
background?
yeah, I just want to know how, because I was reading that it was like 20 years ago, at least, that you
Yeah,
came upon this whole idea of art as therapy.
yeah. Well, I've always been an artist. I've been an artist
Yeah.
all my life. As long as I
Mhm.
can remember, I've just always been into creating. And in my high school years, they were a little bit turbulent. I moved around a lot, and I just dove into my art. Like I knew my art was really healing for me.
Mm.
And I was putting my artwork into exhibits and things like that. And a judge actually asked me during a jury show, have you ever heard of, what are you interested in? And I was like, psychology, art. And they're like, have you ever heard of art therapy? And I never heard of it. And so they sent me this article, and it was so amazing. It was about an art therapist who went into a hospital and helped this little boy who had cancer just deal with his emotions during that time of treatment. So he was drawing out Pac-Man, eating away his cancer cells.
Uh-huh.
And he went through remission, and he just felt really powerful because he was able to, deal with being in the hospital. And I just knew, like, when I read that article, I was like, that's what I need to be doing. Like, I knew that it was healing me. And then I knew I needed to help other people, in that same way. So that was kind of like my journey. I ended up going my undergraduate in art school, and then I got my master's in art therapy, and then started. I mean, that was back in 2003, so it's almost, oh my, it has been almost 20 years of practicing it.
You know, I mean, as I just said at the beginning, I feel like if you go back years, maybe there wasn't such a need for it. But do you feel now that with all the worries in the world and the stress and the uncertainty, that you don't even have to be experiencing something really, life threatening to need at least some kind of therapy? But I'm wondering, what is it that art therapy does that's different from, say, okay, people I know are going for energy healing, or they're going for acupuncture, or they're going, qigong. I mean, there's so much out there. They're just basic therapy, right?
Right.
So, I'm wondering, it feels so good, this idea to me of doing art therapy, which I've never exactly done. But I will share a
Yeah.
story at the end. I accidentally had a moment of therapy in India once, a few years ago. But so what is it about art therapy that's different from some of these other modalities?
Yeah. So, art, it's a mental health profession, and
Yeah.
it's just like going to see a counselor or psychologist to, instead of just talking about what's going on with you, you get to actually use the art materials to express your feelings and your emotions. And, sometimes we don't always have the words to express ourselves. And as an artist, I didn't feel like I had the words to really know like what my feelings were and what was happening. So I was able to use that visual language, like the symbols, the
Mm.
metaphors, to put that on the paper, and then be able to look at it and then find those words to just understand what was happening in my life. And so that's what it is. It's an opportunity to. It's very energetic. It's the colors have a vibration. They have a certain frequency. I use the chakras a lot in my work with people, and and I love that you said, it's not always just for someone who is suffering, because it is for people who are, suffering with PTSD, anxiety, depression, but it's definitely a self-care practice. Like, it's something that anyone can use to nurture their soul, to, just decrease their stress in their life. It just reduces the cortisol levels so that you feel better. It has so many good qualities. Like, just creating art itself is, it brings up that vibration. So it's definitely for anybody. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're saying that, because my mother was an artist, and she was a
Mhm.
good artist. And I grew up thinking I have no talent, I can't create anything. She also could, decorate a room, she was interior designer, and was so creative. So I kind of grew up feeling, well, I really can't do any of that. And it's actually something I've had to try to, kind of release that feeling of that I'm no good. And I don't mean no good, I mean, I feel like I'm not saying talents, but at least I have other outlets, in
Yeah.
life that make me feel good. But I'm wondering, do a lot of people feel that maybe this isn't for them because they are people like me that feel that they can't really draw or paint or make anything? Does that
Right.
happen?
Right. I can see your hesitation if you don't feel like you're good at it. But the thing is that you don't have to
Mhm.
be good at it. It's not
Mhm.
about making a pretty picture. That's not the
Mhm.
point. The
Yeah.
point is about being expressive. And if you can choose a color, if you can create a stick figure, I mean, we're all creators, right? So it's just that if you have that opening, that curiosity of like, hey, can I try this out? Can I lean into this? Then you have that opportunity to express yourself. And I mean, I'm the guide, I'm the facilitator. So I hold that space for you, and I'll let you know like the steps of what to do. And for those who can listen to their intuition, because a lot of times we get stuck in that left brain, right? And that analytical, and we can get very like judgmental. But if we could let that go and just kind of lean into that intuition of picking the color that feels good to you, drawing the line that is okay, that to express that emotion, then you're going to be able to really get something out of it. So it's really fun to see that happen as well, that we can just kind of let go and enjoy the process versus just looking at that product, at the end result.
That has to be very freeing for the person,
Yes.
I mean, to walk into a situation like this and feel, I can't really do it, or I'm not, as I'm saying, I'm not an artist. And like you're saying, in a way, they have to just give themselves up to you for the whatever time it takes, half hour of therapy that it takes. Have you
Yeah.
had some really I mean, you shared the one experience, but powerful experiences with people, just seeing people go through a healing process, right? Really right before your eyes.
Yeah,
Is that
definitely.
common?
Yeah, most definitely, because it's really intentional. Like, you're coming in with an intention of like what it is that you want to heal, what it is that you want to gain insight on, what it is that you want clarity on. And what I see is that your art has messages. So it's that
Mm.
opportunity to allow yourself to do that problem solving, to gain that insight. We're talking about spirituality here, to get those insights. And your art has messages. So when you learn to have that language, like when you nurture that part of that visual vocabulary of being able to look at your art, you're going to get messages from it, like, oh, that's what it means. Oh, which direction should I go? Or, what's going on in my life? You kind of see, and you get that insight of what can happen next. So that happens a lot with my clients, where they have those ahas and they feel better afterwards, because they're like, I know what my next best step is because my art told me, right? It's like an
Mm.
oracle. I see it as an oracle.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always happen that second, though, does it? I mean, just because I've been involved with things to do with meditation and the Brahma Kumaris over many years, and the kind of healing we don't do art therapy, or I've never done art therapy with the Brahma Kumaris. I'm sure there's somebody. I think there is someone that might do
We
something.
should do a workshop.
Oh God, I'm getting. Oh wow, this sounds exciting. Sounds great. Meditation and art therapy together could be very cool. And I the process for me, and we've done quite a bit of journaling, in classes, and
Mhm.
it doesn't always happen that second. I mean, they'll say just write, and I go, I can't write. I have nothing to write. Nothing's coming up, or it's the same thing over and over again. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it could happen at the end. It could happen the next day. Something comes up and it comes out, and then I can write it, or I write, and then all of a sudden there's an answer. And so I feel in a way, maybe it's the same thing. It doesn't necessarily happen with you sitting there with the person, does it always? Or maybe sometimes it does.
Well, a lot of it happens, a lot of creatives that I work with, it's that they want something. They want
They,
something to manifest in their life. So that's kind of their intention, their goal. But they get blocked. You know, they get stuck in their ego, they get stuck in like past traumas or holding on to some like energy or something that's not serving them. So really it's about getting through that. It's like, and we draw that out. We draw out those blocks. We draw out like what's stopping them so they can see it, they can reflect on it. So that process might not just happen one time. It's even like, and I do see clients individually. I do a lot of Zoom work and stuff like that, where, you know, I do a minimum of 14 sessions. So I meet with them 1 hour a week for like an extended period of time, but I do the minimum because it is a process. It's not just like one time. It's like you have to go through the motions to understand what your art is saying, right? And having that relationship with your art, but also getting through the dark part too, of getting what it is, and being able to speak to it, and you know, understanding your fears and getting through that so that you can get to what you want. So like my new book, it's called The Art of Healing and Manifesting, is because
and I
we have
think
to
we
get through
have
that.
a copy. Yeah, we have I mean, we can show. We have a picture.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of that process of getting in touch with, you know, we want something. We always have desires. That's just naturally that comes to us. The universe wants us to have these desires, but sometimes we have a lot of learning lessons or things that we need to heal before we can get to that desire. So it's part of that process.
I like what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. It can't happen in one session. All kinds of stuff is built up over many, many years, hasn't it? And that word you used, the darkness, you know, we have these dark parts of us that, in a sense, they direct our lives. Often they're in control of our lives, aren't they?
Yeah,
It
well,
might
we
be
have to integrate it in some
from the
way. Sometimes
past, a
it's, yeah.
parent, a teacher that hurt us, a person, a friend that hurt us as when we were quite young. I mean, there's so much stuff that's affected us. And so it's almost like we need to get it out, right, in order to heal.
Yeah, it's exploring those
Mm.
wounds, exploring it, giving it some light, because a lot of times we push it away and then we don't realize how much that has, that behavior or protecting ourselves or whatever it is that we're doing was from that. And so we have to look at it and explore it and then integrate it and be like, okay, that is a part of me, and learn from it so that you can get to that next level where you want to go.
So you mentioned creatives that you work with, and I happen to love that word, creatives. And so I'm wondering, are you talking about, I mean, I know the word, and I know I'm actually involved with something that's involved with creatives, but I'm wondering if it's the same as what you mean, which is, you know, people who really are artistic artists. So were you thinking of artists or just people who are extremely creative, you know, or are they artists, visual
Well,
writers, whatever?
yeah. So as I've been showing up to the world and putting my art therapy out there, I've written a few books and then putting it out there. And so people are interested, like, what is this? What is this about? You know, there's a lot of work that you can do for yourself, but then there's like, I want some guidance and direction. So I started taking people online, and I call them creatives because a lot of times they are artists, but they might not always like claim that they're an artist, but they are creative. But usually it's that they are wanting to coming out in the world and share their gifts. Because I noticed that. I think it was part of my journey too, because I was an artist all my life, but I didn't always share my art. It wasn't until I had my 2 kids and there was like a dark night of the soul where it came to me. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to make my art and I need to share it with people. And I learned so much in that process because it was so scary for me that I feel
Show
like
it,
that's
to
kind of,
show the
yeah,
art. You mean
to
you just
share
did
my
it
art with,
secretly in your house or
yes,
whatever? And
yes, for pretty much all my life into my 30s. Yeah. And so, and I would just give it away and, you know, not think twice about it. And so it wasn't until like my 30s that I was like, oh, wow, I actually want to show up and share it. So when I feel like I've been calling in creatives as well, who want to be in that place of sharing their work and showing up, and whether they want to make a business out of it or if they want to do healing workshops or if they want to just show up in a way, because it does take you to the next level of sharing yourself, right?
it absolutely does. And it's also a very difficult thing for artists to first of all, to make it in society, right? I mean, it's not, we see these artists that are, mega famous or whatever, and we think, oh, just go out there and show your work and sell some paintings. But to be, it's really, you're one of the few, isn't it, that really kind of gets that kind of attention where you don't have to, do any, I mean, where you can work. I mean, most artists, I would say, do something else too, right? They are teaching, maybe they have some kind of a job because it's hard. Oh, here's your book. So you helping them with that, I guess, moving them along is what I'm thinking. In terms of how to get to that space, what is, maybe you can be a graphic artist and sell things. I don't know, what the potential is out there, but I'm sure that comes out, whatever it is they need to do next. This is some of your cards.
Yeah, this is an oracle deck that I created, and it's a partner with the book as well, The Art of Healing and Manifesting. So it's based on the chakras. Each of the cards, when you pull one, it gives you something either related to what you need to heal, or what you, or it has like a manifesting little direction. So it's all about your desires as well. Thinking about your desire, pull a card, and it gives you direction for the day.
And I love that. And the Brahma Kumaris are very big on cards like that, because they really believe that whatever card you pick, either you are that or you need that,
Yes.
So it's good either way. Right. Oh, I love
very
this.
Intuitive.
I love this picture.
Thanks,
here you
that's
are.
My backyard.
Yeah, here you are. A whole other look and a whole other attitude here, right? Those are some paintings that were displayed with an organization called Save Art Space. It was really cool. These are some older paintings of mine. Yeah. I guess I'm thinking that art has become part of our society in a very beautiful way. And even with I was watching a program on graffiti art, that art just and I'm not saying that's for everybody, but art taking to the streets, affecting our whole society with art. And I love when I see things, that are out there, in the community, and community art, or art, in public spaces, art in public spaces. It's all very important. It really is, for us to just really fill ourselves up with these artistic experiences. And what I'm thinking of is, do these possibly kind of inspire us and maybe even help heal us if we pay attention to them?
Most definitely. We're constantly being bombarded by advertisements and things like that. But when you see the art, it's nourishing for the soul, right? So it's just seeing the colors and seeing the movement or the message. So it is really powerful. Yeah.
And here's some more powerful stuff. And it's your work right there, right?
Yeah, it's a large scale piece. And this is the little detail of it. I've been, this new series is called The Higher Self. And it's all about the birds. These are little warblers, and when those little warblers were in my yard, and when I looked up the message for them, it said, have confidence in following your path. That was the symbol. And I was like, oh, it's so what I needed today.
Oh, wow. That was the message. Follow confidence and follow your path. Look at that. And birds do follow their path, don't they?
Yes.
They don't lack confidence. They know where they're going and what they're going to be up to. Oh, these are really, really special, very spiritual. So this is a whole other thing. I mean, just the experience that people have when they do see art is healing as well, isn't it? Not just necessarily creating your own art, but just bringing more art into your life. And again, as I said, in public spaces, or just in your home, or going to art shows. However you can get it. Yeah.
Take an art day. It's really important.
Just go to the museum, go to a gallery, right?
Yes. Or Mother Nature. I mean, there's so much beauty outside, right? To be that can inspire us to nurture us. That's why I get inspired to paint these birds, is by going outside.
These are just magnificent. They really are. Are birds hard to create the detail? Are you looking for detail, or do you feel free to do whatever you want to do?
Well, no, it's really
Look at
interesting.
That crown. I like the crown.
Yeah, I added a crown to that one. It's interesting. I have different series of work that I've done. Some works are very abstract, where I'm very intuitive and just let it flow. I would say that's like more more right-sided. And then I also have work where I feel it's more technical, like the birds or portraits are more technical because I'm really looking at the shadows, the lights, I'm building depth. It's a different part of my brain. But it excites me and it makes me happy. So I kind of go back and forth between the different series. The other series that I was referring to is called Emotional Landscapes or Seascapes, because they look like the ocean. I love going to the beach. So it's just very abstract ocean art.
Do you feel, I mean, when I'm listening to you and I'm getting very inspired by you, I feel like everything for you is sort of a spiritual experience, whether you're with birds, you're on the streets, you're by the ocean. So is that you're painting, you're working? Do you see your life like that? That,
Most
everything
definitely.
can kind of have that moment, that moment of that aha moment of everything is good, everything is the way it should be.
Most definitely. I feel, I mean, for myself, I always like to start my day in meditation and connecting to source. So I feel like the messages throughout my day are always giving me my signs of who should I call, or even the children that I might work with that day. They might give me messages through like the conversations that we have. And I just feel like it's always there. And it's just, we just have to keep ourselves open to it.
Yeah, that's it. To just be open and present
Mhm.
and maybe just, as you say, go through that process of getting rid of the fears and the worries and all of the stuff that really does bring us down.
Yeah.
But I truly believe that art uplifts, and I've seen it in my own life. And I did also want to talk about something else that you're involved in, or I don't think you mentioned it, the Creative Soul Society, another one of your projects, right? Did
Have
you
so
mention that?
many.
Yeah, right. Never ending
I
with you, huh,
I
Leah?
know.
Yeah.
It's one of
Oh,
those like mixed blessings of like I have so many ideas.
really? I love it.
But it's funny. I think it's when I wasn't creating my art that I felt really blocked. Right. Like when I was talking about I've been an artist all my life, but there was that time when I had that dark night of the soul, and it was a time when I wasn't creating.
Mm.
And I don't ever want to like go back to that. So I feel that as long as I'm creating, that feels good. It feels nourishing. It feels supportive, right? So I created the Creative Soul Society because I wanted to be in community with other artists. And a lot of times artists, like they work in their studios, they're always working by themselves, things like that. So not that everyone necessarily calls themselves an artist, but they're open. They're creatives. They're open to the experience. So I created the Creative Soul Society so that we meet a couple times a month, like twice a month, and we make art together. And so I will give them a directive like, hey, we're going to be making a treasure map. This is what we did like a week ago. And the treasure map is looking at your life and then and drawing out your course. What little islands are you going to be visiting, and where do you want to go on your course? So everything's very personal. And then we give each other time. It's only an hour. So we give each other at the end and we just talk about, well, in my life, I'm visiting this, this, and this. So this is what I want to work on. So yeah, it has that therapeutic component to it as well, but it gives you that creative aspect too, and you can connect with community. So it nourishes me. It's like something that I needed. So that's why I created it. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure. Did you say that you do this now in person, or is this on Zoom still, or
I
both?
love it on Zoom.
Zoom, you do, you
Honestly,
do. Oh, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, on occasion I'll do in-person events, but
Mhm.
um I love Zoom because I don't have to clean up
Sure.
other people's stuff. It's like, and
Yeah.
it's super, super quick, and we can just be together for an hour and no one's ever late. That was another thing.
Isn't it amazing that people do manage to get there mostly on time when it comes to
Yes.
Zoom, right? They don't have to drive, go through the Miami traffic,
Right.
deal with all the stuff in Miami these days, and you're
Yeah, I
there.
love it.
You're there on Ashram in India, Mount Abu, the Brahma Kumaris.
Mhm.
And I actually, for many years, went, well, almost every year, not every year, but a lot of years. And they have all kinds of classes, meditation, and then you can hike in the morning, and there's music, spiritual music. There's so much. But the last time I was there, well, it was the last time before COVID, maybe 2 years, a year before that. they said it was Earth Day or something when I was there. And they said they were going to do different environmental things. And they're very big on the environment. And everybody's a vegetarian as well. And I signed up for something where you would gather leaves and things that you found in the woods or all around, around the school, which is very beautiful, beautiful flowers and plants, gorgeous place. I mean, it's very simple, but beautiful, the nature all around. And then you were supposed to bring it back, and they give you paint and they give you all kinds of stuff to create something. And I'm sitting next to somebody and I'm really nervous, a guy, and I could see immediately he's an artist. Then I see someone else, like they look like they know what they're doing. It seemed almost like everybody signed up was creative. And I'm thinking, why did I sign up for this? I shouldn't have done this. I don't know what to do, And the teacher came over, and she's some kind of an ecologist, and she said, just do it. Like you said, just do it. Just stick on it. Don't worry about what it's going to look like. Just do it. And I started to put things together, and I was getting so happy making my little painting, like as if I was like 7 years old. And, I had the crayons, and they had color stuff, and they had glue, and I had all my leaves and flowers. And as I was doing it, I felt so good. And I had a realization through the end of it. And what I realized was that I never felt that I could do anything creative because my mother was so talented. And she always was like, if I was doing something, she would take over and do it because she always could do it better. And she wasn't trying to show off, but she wanted to help me. And even with doing my house, when, we first moved, it was like, she could do it. And she did everything, And what I realized then was that you don't have to be an artist to be creative. That was my takeaway. And it was the joy that I felt. And I have to tell you, when I looked at this little painting, I thought it was really good. I don't know if anybody else would, but I thought, God, that's beautiful. Look, I created that myself. I felt like a kid. Like, this is so special.
Yeah.
So
You're
I was
nurturing your inner child. Like, that's how beautiful.
I realized that I was holding something for so many years of my life, feeling I can't do it. I can't do it. So I'd be willing to sign up for a class now. See, in the past, I wouldn't have even signed up for something like that.
Yeah, you gave yourself permission. And I think that's huge, to give yourself that space to play, right?
Yeah.
And just see what happens, right? It's kind of scary, but then you learned something from it.
And the happiness, the joy that I felt, from being able to do that. And then I took it back to my room, and I was so excited. And then what I remember is little by little, it sort of fell apart over the days. I thought I could bring it back, and it wasn't able to bring it back. I don't think the glue held very well, but it didn't matter. I had my moment, and that was
right. It was the process.
So thank you, Leah, for letting me share my little silly fun story.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, you are just a well of, creativity and healing. And I mean, after getting to interview you, I just feel that we all have this potential. You're doing it, and you also have the talent, but we all have the potential to heal and be more creative in our lives. So that's what I'm taking from getting to interview you, Leah. So I'm thrilled to be here with you. And I just want to mention your name again. If people are saying, who is that? Who is that? I want to take a class. So it is Leah Guzman, right? Yes. Pronounced Guzman. And you do have a website, so they can get right on and check you out, right? LeahGuzman.com. And as we were saying, we're also a teacher in the Dade County Schools, Miami-Dade County Schools.
I'm not actually a teacher.
An art therapist.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that's fine.
That's
fine.
I don't have a classroom. I just travel around and meet students. So
that sounds pretty good to me. I like that traveling part, school to school, and whoever needs you, there you are, that you're available. So it sounds like
I'm very blessed.
That's a good position to have, and you're doing wonderful things with your life. And so it's great to be here to get to interview you. And I want to thank someone who's behind the scenes. I don't know if she'll show herself, but Nita is our technical director from the Brahma Kumaris Meditation Center. Nita, you can show up for a second. You can. And Nita's there every single week for our series, for the Conversation with Friends, which Craig does on one week, and then I do the next week. And I don't know what we do without Nita at the center. This is not the only thing Nita does. She does about I don't know, 100 more things as well. And she's also an engineer. I always like to say I'm proud of her. So it's such a pleasure getting to interview you, Leah, and hope
Thank
to
you,
get to see you
Meredith.
again. Who knows? Maybe I'll show up in one of your classes.
Ooh, I would love it.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.